Alright, in this video I'm going to do summary of sharps and flats. I'm going to be helping to gain confidence in sharps and flats, reviewing all of the notes, and being able to navigate across notes. Now this video is going to move a little bit faster, so if you find like it's running away from you, I have a ton of videos that I made before this that you can go back to and build your confidence. I may also do slower videos in the future, like more. I'm probably gonna drop a whole bunch of videos of just going through drills to build this. But I do want to move on maybe at the same time with more advanced concepts that we can actually use for practical music theory. Sharps and flats, well, we're going to review all the concepts. I'm just going to kind of go fast through all of this, right? So we have the musical alphabet is the letters A through G. A through G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then it goes to A again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In between the letters, you have other notes. You have other notes. You have, if you were to be looking at a piano, you have the white notes on the piano. Those are the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it goes to A again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It keeps repeating. The notes between on the piano are the black. Those correspond to the black notes on the piano. Now you can think of all of the black notes as sharps. Or you could switch modes in your mind and think of all of the notes as flats. So I'm either thinking of the notes on the piano that are black as sharps, or I'm thinking of them as flats at a given time. Each note, therefore, has two names. It has its sharp name or its flat name. When it comes to these sharps and flats, understand that they're between the letters. And like if you look at a piano, it's kind of like that, right? It's just, the notes are staggered. You have the whites all at the bottom, and then as you go up to the top, the black notes are kind of halfway up to the top, and they're in between the white notes. The white notes, they're all like equidistant, or they're the same amount of space apart from one another. The black notes are like right between them, so they're like stuck in between. So the sharps and the flats, they're stuck in between the regular notes. The only thing is, there's an interesting dynamic in the sense that when it comes to the notes B, C, and E, F, those two particular sets of two notes that are next to each other, they don't have a black note between. So B, C, and E, F don't have a black note between. Therefore, there's no sharp or flat between B, C, and E, F, but all of the other letters have sharps and flats between. Okay, so this is just like a comprehensive review of everything. Now, when you're talking, so therefore you could count through all of the sharps and flats, counted by half steps. If you're doing sharps, you say A sharp, B. 3-note cluster. Think of A and B, and then there's that note that's between A and B, which is A sharp. And you could go like that between all of the clusters. So B and C. Well, there's no note between B and C, so there's no 3-note clusters, just two notes next to each other. Between C and D, there's a 3-note cluster, C and D, and then that note that's between C and D, which is C sharp. And you could go like this through all of the notes and find where the sharps are. You can also do this thinking in terms of flat mode. So the same exact notes would be like A, then A and B has a note between A and B, but it's B flat, which is also A sharp, but it's also B flat, depending on what way you're thinking about it. A and B, two white notes, you got a black note between, which is B flat. Between B and C, there's no note between, so it's just B, C. Between C and D, there's a black note between, so you got 3 notes, 2 whites and a black, right? And that will be called D flat because the note below D. Between D and E, you have there's also a black note between those 2 white notes. It's a note below E, so it's E flat. See, like this, and you could go through all the notes this way. There are 12 notes in all. They keep repeating. Every time it repeats, it's called a new octave. It's the way we call it. Then we did drills practicing moving between half step by half step intervals. An interval, remember, is the distance between two notes. And it actually creates a sort of dynamic, a flavor, a feeling. Puts you in a certain mood when you put it rubs, the two notes rubbing against each other creates a way, it rubs off of you a certain way. Creates an interesting dynamic, like psychologically. This is what intervals do. And really, music theory, I believe at the core, is really the study of how intervals play off of one another. More on that as we progress. As we're going through all of the notes, let's say we're in sharp mode, we could go through all the notes by half steps. A sharp, B, C. Now C to D, C sharp, D. Then D to E, D sharp, E. E to F is a half step. F to G, F sharp, G. G to A, G sharp, A. We're back at A. Same thing we could do with flats. I like to think of flats going backwards because, well, a flat means to lower by half steps, so I like to go backwards, but you could go either way. You could say A, B flat, B. C. It's between C and D. C, D flat, D. D and E. D, E flat, E. E, F. F, G flat, G. G, A flat, A, like this. And then you want to be able to move by whole steps. And like this is what I'm saying. Probably before I go on to the more, before we start to go back into the major scale again, I'm just going to do a ton of these videos just so those of you who it's just not clicking yet, come on, man, hurry up, get it right. No, I mean, look, we all learn at different places, different paces. If it's not clicking for you, I'm not mad at you. Like, this is a lot of information. Don't beat up on yourself if it's like, oh man, I can't keep up with it anymore. I'm not watching this anymore. Like, well, first of all, you ever heard of rewind? You ever heard of going back and replaying? It's there for you. It's there for you to replay. But I'm going to still keep doing it. I'm going to still keep going back so we can all be confident before we move forward. See, I want everybody to be strong with music theory so that music theory is out of the way and we can take this nonsense, these concepts, to actual instruments and be able to play music. This is what I'm after at the end. I want you to be able to play music because for me, playing music is such a joy. It's been such a joy to my life and I want more people to experience that. But there's more joy when you understand what you're actually doing. All right, so we did all of the moving by half steps, and then you want to build the ability to move by whole steps. And whole step is 2 half steps. On a guitar, it's 2 frets away. On a piano, it's 2 notes away from the note you're currently on. And essentially, if you move from a natural note or the note without a sharp or flat to another natural note, you're going to end up on, well, you're going to move from, if you move by a whole step, you're going to end up typically on another natural note. And if you move from one of the black keys to another, by a whole step, you're going to typically end up on another black key. Most times. It's not always the case because you got B, C, and E, F in between there. However, a little caveat here. When we actually go into the scales, into major scale, diatonic scale, like the scales that we use to play, that are usually used to make songs, you typically won't be using a letter more than one. You see how we said A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. We said C and C sharp right after each other, right? When we're in a key, in a musical context, we're not going to be using the same note more than once. There's a rule that you can't. You can't use the note more than once. So don't get too bent up out of shape out of this. You just need to be able to navigate to find what's a whole step away, because that's how you're gonna build the scale. But either way, you're not gonna use the same note twice. You're gonna call it, is always gonna be A, B, C, D, E, F, like this. In every key, you're gonna use each letter one time. You're gonna use each letter one. This is kind of a preview to what we're gonna be going to in the future. But like every letter is only used once. So when you use that letter, it's either gonna be just the regular letter, or it's gonna be the sharp version or the flat version of that letter. But we're not gonna say A and A sharp and A flat in the same key. We're just gonna say A or A sharp or A flat, depending on what key we're in. Then we'll use the B one time, then we'll use the C one time, like this. Okay, so that's just like a little preview. So this is just like a review of sharps and flats. My next set of videos is probably gonna have, I'm probably gonna have to find time to do it at home, and where I can actually teach using the keys of the piano, which I will do. It may take me a little longer before I start to come back, but it's all good because, you know, there's not a lot of people watching this yet. But I'm gonna, you know, for the few of you that have already found this and are finding value in it, hey, I appreciate you being here. And again, be patient with yourselves. Trust that in time it's gonna come together for you. But I am conscientious, and I'm going to try to get on those next videos as soon as possible. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you the next time. Peace.